Previously on The Three Little Piglets. Polly woke with a start. Something or someone was outside her stick house. "Who's there?" she shouted into the darkness, but no one answered. Instead, a wolf. But this wasn't just any wolf. This wolf was enormous, far larger than she had ever imagined. The enormous wolf stepped closer to Polly, its eyes glowing in the darkness. She backed away, trembling, but noticed something odd. The wolf didn't seem hungry. It seemed curious. Polly stammered, "What do you want from me?" The wolf didn't answer immediately. Instead, it circled her slowly. "You should have built your house stronger, like your brother," it said in a low, almost whispering tone. Then, without another word, it lunged at her. Polly screamed and darted out of the house, squeezing through the back door just as the wolf's claws scraped the wooden floor behind her. She ran for her life, her heart pounding in her chest. Polly sprinted through the dark forest, branches whipping at her face. She ran as fast as she could toward Pete's brick house, knowing it was her only hope. Behind her, the wolf gave chase, moving swiftly, but never quite catching up. It was as if the wolf was toying with her, letting her think she had a chance to escape. Just as Polly thought she was out of breath, she saw Pete's brick house appear through the trees, its solid walls standing tall and strong. She screamed for help. "Pete! Pete, open the door!" Pete, hearing his sister's cries, rushed to the door and flung it open just as Polly collapsed inside. He slammed it shut behind her, his heart racing. "What's going on?" Pete demanded as he helped Polly to her feet. "The wolf, it was in my house, but something's not right about it. It didn't try to huff and puff. Polly struggled to catch her breath, but before she could finish, they heard a noise outside. A heavy, slow scraping sound, like claws dragging across the ground. Pete's eyes widened. "It's here." The two piglets stood frozen as the sound grew louder, circling the house. Then, from the window, they saw the wolf's yellow eyes glowing in the darkness. But it didn't approach the door. Instead, the wolf prowled outside, pacing as if waiting for something. Polly whispered, "Why isn't it attacking?" Pete didn't answer. He was thinking, his sharp mind working through the situation. "This isn't a normal wolf," he said quietly. "It's not after food, it's after something else." The wolf stopped its pacing and looked directly into the window, its gaze piercing through the night. "You can't hide forever," it growled before walking away into the shadows of the trees. Polly and Pete sat in silence, the tension in the air thick. Polly was shaking, but Pete was deep in thought. Something about the wolf's words, its behavior, it all felt planned, deliberate. Suddenly, the front door burst open and Perry stumbled inside, panting and out of breath. "The wolf! It's after me too!" he gasped. Pete quickly locked the door behind him, and the three piglets huddled together. "Why is it doing this?" Perry asked, his voice trembling. "It didn't even try to blow my house down. It just watched me and waited until I ran." Pete frowned. "This isn't just a wolf. It's something more. I think it's hunting us, but not for the reasons we thought." As the three piglets tried to figure out the wolf's plan, a sudden realization hit Pete. He stood up, his eyes wide with understanding. "The wolf isn't here for our houses. It's here because of us." Just as Pete finished his sentence, the wolf's voice echoed from outside, calm and steady. "Come out, little piglets. It's time for you to know the truth." The piglets huddled closer, unsure of what to do. But Pete knew they couldn't hide forever. His mind raced, trying to find an answer to the riddle the wolf had set before them. Then it hit him. The stories they'd heard as children, stories about the forest and the creatures that lived in it. "We need to confront it," Pete said firmly, standing tall. "I think it knows something about us. Something we don't even know." Polly and Perry exchanged worried glances but trusted Pete's instincts. Together they opened the door and stepped out into the cool night, the wolf standing just a few feet away, waiting. The wolf's eyes gleamed as the piglets approached, but it made no move to attack. Instead, it smiled, a slow, sinister grin. "I've been watching you," it said, "for a long time." Polly, trembling, asked, "Why?" What do you want from us? The wolf chuckled, a low, rumbling sound. You three aren't just ordinary piglets. You're the heirs to something ancient, something powerful, and that power is hidden in the very earth beneath your feet. Pete's eyes widened in realization. The land our houses are built on. It's special, isn't it? That's why you're here. You don't want us. You want what's beneath our homes. The wolf nodded. Clever little piglet. Your ancestors hid something precious in this land. And now, it's time for me to take it back. The piglets stood in shock, but Pete's mind was racing. If the wolf was after whatever was hidden beneath their homes, that meant there was only one way to protect themselves. They had to stand their ground and defend it. We won't let you have it, Pete said, his voice steady. Whatever our ancestors left behind, it's ours to protect. The wolf snarled, baring its sharp teeth. You think you can stop me? I've been waiting for this moment for centuries. But Pete had a plan. We may not be able to stop you alone, but together we're stronger than you think. As the wolf charged toward them, the three piglets stood firm side by side. At the last moment, Pete shouted, "Now!" And the piglets, using their knowledge of the land, triggered a hidden mechanism beneath their feet. The ground rumbled, and suddenly the earth opened up beneath the wolf. It tried to leap away, but it was too late. The wolf fell into a deep pit, trapped by the very ground it had come to claim. Breathing heavily, the three piglets stood at the edge of the pit, looking down at the wolf. It struggled for a moment, but eventually it stopped, realizing it had been defeated. You're clever, the wolf growled, but this isn't over. Others will come for what's hidden here. Pete nodded. Maybe, but we'll be ready. The piglets covered the pit, sealing the wolf underground. As the sun began to rise, the forest returned to its peaceful state, and the piglets knew they had protected something far more important than just their homes. From that day forward, the piglets lived in peace, knowing that their ancestors had left them not just land, but a legacy to protect. And while the wolf was gone, they knew that the secret of their land would always be something worth guarding. The end. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment what you want to see on the next episode of our Enchanted Stories.